How's everyone going? We've got my co-host, Miss Chief Disruptor. So you got to chat with Jay and this Chief Disruptor. We haven't really come up with a name for this. We call it the round table because I reckon in a few weeks we might have a round table on TikTok or Instagram. Get a few people to have a bit of a chat because we've got this big 31st rally coming up, which we're here to. How are you, my dear friend?
I'm good. I'm good.
We're doing
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
How's everything going? What are you finding? There's a lot of couple of discussions we want to go through tonight. Just to get out, this will obviously go out on major spot on Spotify, Buzzsprout, and YouTube, just to get
Yeah.
the messages out. What have you found this week and a few of in the last few weeks? It's been pretty heated since this rally's been announced, hasn't it?
Yeah, and I actually did a live on Instagram with uh Lee, and we talked about that and a few other things. But basically I wasn't born here. My parents weren't born here. My kids were born here, but neither of their parents were born here. So for me, I feel Australia has been built on migration, and it's not just Anglo Saxon migration. I worked for the Minister for Immigration under the Labor government in '88. I was 21 years old, and he used to carry around newspapers that showed in the 1950s the headlines were Australia being Latinised, the Italian mafia taking over Australia. So, it is cyclical. We do have a bit of racism, but, it's also at times where we feel that Australians are not being put first,
Mm.
and that is cyclical. So when there's not enough jobs, when there's not enough housing, whatever. So, for me, I was considering going, but then I just saw too much stuff about anti immigration, and I can't be anti immigration. I don't think anyone there has a right to be full on anti immigration. Anti the way government is handling immigration, yes, right? 100%, right? Be angry at the way government has mismanaged immigration,
Do you think it's missed the
because
do you think it's missed the point? I think Lee and myself have had many chats. We might have a round table with him as well very soon. But I think everyone's missing the point, even though I talk about how they've managed super, how they've managed crime, how they've managed this Australia flag controversy, how they've managed integration. I think there's a common element here, isn't there? I don't know if it's been
our issues are
hijacked or
with the
whatever. What do you
government
think?
and the way they mismanage things. That's who our issues should be with. So for me to feel like I may not be welcome at a rally for Australia, then why would I go or put myself at risk of
Mm.
going? I saw a comment which was similar to what you're saying. A guy on Instagram said, I'll be going, and if it gets racist or violent, I'm hopping into the nearest pub. And I love that, right? I absolutely love that because I don't begrudge people's right to march. I think it's 100% wonderful that Australians are finally going, this is enough. But I'm just not clear about the agenda. And, so far I'm just seeing it is very, very anti immigration rather than anti the way the government has managed immigration and housing, right? Like if
Yeah.
housing wasn't a problem, immigration wouldn't be as much of a problem.
Well, absolutely.
So,
We see that. I'll go on to two things with you that I'd love your opinion on. Number one, there's rumor going around about room tax, which is starting in Victoria. What would you expect? Yeah, or you
it it,
room tax.
it was
Oh, well, we'll go and buy a
inevitable.
house. You know what I say, right? How's this one? You've got an elderly couple. One's passed away. God bless them, and they've got a spare room. For the grandkids or someone, and they're going to tax people on this thing. That's what they're proposing. And
Like,
the
yeah,
other
I mean,
thing, want you to comment because I have to say, you're close to an expert because you're doing your PhD in super. A couple of these companies have been caught out
yeah, yeah.
losing money, going under 500 million or something like that. We'll get the ad up for it. We'll go and find the advert that was in the on the internet. But the other thing was, there's a lot of people who are taking money and buying Lamborghinis. That was the tagline.
Oh yeah.
So your opinion on that one first? How's that one, Super? What this is what we've been talking about. What are the solutions in your book, Miss Chief Disruptor?
Look, I think I'm just trying to understand how super is going to work when we're living longer and more people are going to be renters, right? So they're going to need a lot more money to retire comfortably.
Right.
And that's what I'm worried about. And what I'm seeing is that we're being taxed to the eyeballs. Even if you do own a home, like you're now going to have to pay a spare bedroom tax, or you're going to have to pay tax on using that spare bedroom, right, for your meditation room or for your home office, likely.
But you pay stamp duty and everything. That's why I made the comment
Right.
about stamp
And
duty. It's
that's the thing. It's
ridiculous.
like it just doesn't make sense. And I feel that what I'm seeing in my research is that there's this squeeze of the middle class. That we won't have a middle class, right?
Yep.
Because the middle class are going to be poor. And the reason is they're like, oh yeah, but the wealth transfer and whatever. There's a lot of people that won't have that wealth transfer. Like, so we focus on the really wealthy people that, yes, will have a great wealth transfer and whatever. And, good luck to them. But I want Australians to be worried about the people that are middle class now, that are never going to own a home, that are going to be in debt and are not going to be able to pay for their own care or for their health as they age and live to likely 85, 95.
Yeah.
Right. So that's kind of, whereas everything's predicted around, you're going to die around 75, 80, and that's just not the case anymore. So that's the stuff that I see, and that's the stuff that I worry about. And then, a wealth tax then is going to affect the very people that are probably middle class and will probably inherit some asset from their parents, which will enable them to own a home. But no, let's have a wealth tax on those people so they can't have the asset. Do you know what I mean? They can't
Yeah.
benefit
Look.
from the work that their parents did.
Well, I think. Look.
It just blows my
Yeah,
mind.
it does. It does. And I think the big thing. Look, I'll be honest with you. Here's a solution for you, ladies and gentlemen. And this comes down to honesty and love for your family and being a true person. The way to get around those death taxes and all those other tax, inheritance tax, is to transfer it into the kid's name. Now that could be or the kid buys it off or whatever, however it may be. That's the way to get out of that one. I mean, there are simple ways, but I mean, the superannuation, I keep just going to self-managed with gold, silver, and gold, silver, platinum. And if you wanted to go Bitcoin, I think that could be the way to go. I think self-managed, meaning what we were talking about in our first chat, Annie, was the attitude that you've got, look after yourself. The attitude I've got, keep control of your asset and not go and spend, I've got 140 grand, I can go and do what I want with it, buy a house. But again, that's not the purpose, is it?
No, and the thing is, right, is that if you're blessed enough to say have saved 100 grand or whatever, I mean, what can you buy now, right? So you're looking at borrowing 800-900 grand to buy maybe something quite small, right? Like, it's insane. And then I'm looking at the median super released by the tax office at 60. Right. And this is 2023. So just a couple of years ago, at 60, the median super was like 200 grand for a man, just over 200K for a man, and about 160 for a woman. Like, that's at 60, right? Retirement is at 65 or 67. Like, what? So if you have borrowed money, how are you going to pay off a $700,000 or $800,000 loan when your median super is 200K? And then what are you going to have left to live? The age pension. So the whole idea of compulsory super, right, and super guarantee was that you would delay the pressure on the age pension. Like, you would cut the pressure, right? So that really poor people and people that, weren't working full time or whatever, that couldn't accrue super, that those people could rely on the pension. Whereas now what I'm seeing is everyone's going to end up on the pension.
Do you think that's a I'm going to go straight down rabbit hole. Do you think that's what they want?
No, I really think they would be completely stupid, because like, it's already buckling under healthcare, aged care, and the NDIS, right? So
that's right.
Where are you going to get the money from, right? Where are you going to get the money from? We're an aging population, right? So we're not having enough kids to sustain the population in terms of even taxes, let alone workforce. So, you know, I mean, that's been the problem for Australia since 1956 when people just stopped having kids. But now you've got, you know, a rising in people that just choose not to have kids.
Yep.
You know, and never to get married.
Luxury. It's a luxury, Annie. It isn't it?
Yeah, and never to get married and to be single, right? So these single people aren't going to have family to look after them, so they're going to have to pay for the care. So all of this stuff, just people aren't factoring it in. We're going to need a lot more than what we think to retire comfortably. So, you know, and the government just isn't moving fast enough, right, to support the people that are heading for retirement in the next 5 years. Right, even, let alone successive generation who will largely be renters.
What about this one for you? Okay, so, I mean, we went through that. They said the government's not moving quick enough, but they moved quick enough to go and buy $325,000 worth of machete bins, which...
Well, that's the state government, I know. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, but here's one for you, Annie. Here's one for you. The increasing machete attacks is even better. So the relevance between that, ladies and gentlemen, even though it's in Victoria, the relevance of government spending, we can fix this and do this, instead of looking at exactly what we're talking about and the solutions that we have to come up with. Instead of going, okay, we're going to go, so the criminal's going to walk past, go, oh, yes, here's a bin. I'm going to put my machete in there and go, clap, 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 clap. Seriously.
No, like, I mean,
so you're
even they find the money when they want to, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like they found the money for AUKUS. They found the money for the Great Barrier Reef Foundation. You know, they found the money for, you know, the job networks. They find the money when they want to, right? So the thing is there's no new money because they're now trying to find ways. Like I had a look at all the different things that say were the 6 things that the Fin Review thinks were the main outcomes of the summit, right, that they will move on. And the first one is a road user tax, right? So an electric vehicle tax. And it's like, you mofos have hustled people to go electric and now you're going to pay a tax on that. Okay, whatever. Then number 2 is abolish tariffs, things that are called nuisance tariffs. Okay, great. Then the next one is reduce red tape, right? You know, reform the National Construction Code. Number 4 is environmental approvals. Number 5 is clear the backlog on home approvals. That's number 5. Number 6 is drop excessive regulations, right? And it's like it goes on, but it really doesn't matter because they've discussed this the last 20 years and nothing changes.
So what do we
do?
So
whatever it is, they're not going to reduce any taxes. They're just going to create new ones,
exactly,
right?
So, as they are. You see them all, Annie. Now, what
all the time.
So what do you?
And they're not right exercising. What I love this word, right? I hated it because I'm a disruptor. Restraint.
Oh,
right.
Yes.
They don't exercise restraint, and this $325,000 per bin, and who the hell's going to drop anything in the bin? And I mean, honestly,
your head when you're thinking about it.
It does your head in, but you know what? I was with a friend today who worked in politics as well, and we talked about this stuff, even the roundtable, right? It's just a photo opportunity. They're going to come out, they're going to have a list of names. Oh, look, you know, this was represented, blah, blah, blah. Oh. And they're going to have a photo and they're going to say, yeah, it was really great. And it's like, I look at a productivity summit or a poverty summit or whatever. It's like, it's your full-time job. It's your full-time job. No roundtables needed. Just fix the goddamn problem.
They'll fix it.
Right?
And they don't care.
And they don't. And all this money, somehow they found the money for the machetes, right? It's like all the universities are paying the big 4 consultants $8 million to reduce the budget, like to help them identify that they've got to sack 100 staff. And it's like, what? Like,
does it take that much, does it really?
I don't think so. So, I don't know. The world's kind of gone mad. They talk about all the right things. Like we all want to reduce red tape and you know, reduce the backlog on homes. And it's like, well, I mean, you needed a summit to tell you that. I mean, any of us could have told you that.
Let's be honest. The summit's like an end of year Christmas party. Let's be honest. They're going on their big eating caviar, sucking down daiquiris and all that stuff on our expense to go, oh, yes, we are. But I want to know, what do you think the solutions are? Because people are looking for people everywhere. You know, we're talking about the 31st rally. We're talking about
Solutions is exercise restraint. Exercise restraint, like we're all doing in our own homes, like cutting costs, and I don't see them doing that. The public service is bloated. They're spending millions and billions of dollars on consultants still.
Yep.
It is just ridiculous, and we just don't need that, not at the moment, especially because all these people have been part of the problem. They've all been there making this problem happen, and so we don't need any more people. We don't need any new departments, because I know that some of the independents are like, oh, we need this new authority. And I think, please, like, that's just more money that's got to be found to fund something that is just not going to change anything.
Exactly.
What
about us, Annie?
What's the solution? The solution is for all of us to wake up, right?
Yeah.
There's successive state elections coming up. You guys in Victoria is next year. The year after is New South Wales. And I think the year after that, or 2 years after, anyways, in 3 years' time, it'll be the feds. So, like, we've got election opportunities. So this now gets to the 31st of August, right? When I first saw it, I was like, yay, this is awesome. This is great. We're all going to stand up. And then I saw all this other shit. So
yeah, exactly.
For me, no, not for me, but respect people that want to go.
Yeah.
And love, as I said, love the people like you who say, I'm going to go and watch. If it gets ugly, I'm going to, walk away, because that's not what I'm there for. So, so that's good. I think people are yearning for something. But what Lee says, and he talks about this often, is that we've got to come together with no agenda other than coming together and telling the government to just stop. Like, our issue is really with the government. These migrants have come in, legally, right? We used to have a major problem with illegal migrants, right?
We saw that the Liberal Party stopped that, didn't they? Was that the
Liberal? We probably still do, right? We probably still do, but not as bad as it
not
used
as bad
to
as what we used to back in
No,
the early 2000s.
If the government is making decisions to acknowledge degrees from other countries, if it's willing to allow people from other countries to come here and practice as whatever, then that's on the government. You can't blame the people, because like my parents, they want a better life and they make the choice to come here. They had other choices, but they chose Australia. Fuck knows why, because they had Canada, they had America, they had Europe. But no, they chose Australia. So here we are, and I'm glad, I'm grateful that we're here. So, I don't know. I just think that I respect the people that want to go. I respect the original intent, which is we have to rise up and tell the government no. But if it's, really pushing an anti-immigration, stop immigration and all of that, these people have no idea how many migrants are here. Like, what migrants are they talking about? And what specifically do they want not to come in? Because these migrants are filling in jobs that Australians are not doing.
This is the problem there, Annie, with everything that's happening. And I've seen a lot of the migrants come out and say this is about unity, and they love the country that they came from.
Exactly. Migrants want to be part of it.
Exactly. They love
they're
the country,
Australian,
and they love us.
I think
as well.
That's the key. If you're Australian, come along. If you're Australian, and with no definition, because what the fuck is Australian? Indigenous Australian, that's Indigenous Australian. But all the rest of us, what fucking kind of Australian are you? Not one person has not got roots from overseas.
Right.
And so my feeling as I've grown up in this country from age 7 is that it's okay if you're from the UK. It's all right if you're from England or Ireland, like, you're marginally acceptable, but like, definitely UK, because it's an Anglo
I'll step in there.
Culture.
I'll step in there, Annie. I reckon over the period of time that obviously my parents as well, they came, but I saw a lot of people. I think everyone assimilated, and I think in the case of people getting a lot more selfish in their ways and wanting a lot more social media, being a bit of an I guess it's egotistical or whatever you want to put it. where the social media, you have to be better than the Joneses. We lost the spirit of Australia as well, I think, where she'll be right, go and help your mates. Now we've got tall Poppy. I mean, I spoke to JT Fox, my coach, and the first thing that really attracted me to him was he said, why do you cut people down in this country for doing what they do and they love? I went to Canada and America, and I'm telling everyone what I'm doing. They go, wow, tell us a little bit more about that. Sounds amazing. Come over here, and without our little circle going, the first thing go, oh, yeah, he's got billions. He must have someone up his backside or someone. I mean, it's the first thing, and I don't know if it's taught in schools, Annie, or not, but I'm telling you, I don't know. But at the end of the day, I think, you know, as I said, this must wake people up. Super. Be aware of your super. If you're going to look, one piece of advice we give is go and check your super, see how it is. Look at other options. As my lovely friend said as well, with regards to the 31st rally, put your, you know, go if you want to go, or show support online. Grab your, I mean, what this is a hand, right? Yeah. What's usually in it? A phone. Let's use the phone. Just go. But again, it's not about, as we talked about, it's not about one issue. If you'll have a look, if everyone's what I've been talking about pushing, it's about government control over compliance, over taxing, and decisions they make to make our lives harder. That includes immigration, the way they bring in too many people. You can't fit 100 million people into 900,000. You can't do it. It doesn't work. That's what the problem is. You have a look at some of the new establishments and new suburbs happening, especially out of Victoria. They don't have the infrastructure. I can tell you that right now. They've got industries. They've gone, oh, we're going to have industries here. That'd be great. And they haven't put the roads in. They've got one single lane bridge. I know down in the Craigieburn area. I know for a fact they have. Now, whether I got a conspiracy on that and say, well, they want to separate left and right, I don't know. But, you know, there's a lot of cover-ups. Let's put it that way. I'd like to take this time to shout out our supporters at Liberty Bullion, the best gold, silver and platinum traders in Melbourne, even Australia. If you want to give them a call, their knowledge, their customer service is second to none. Back to the show.
Yeah. It's, you know, we just need to stand up at the state level and then at the federal level. You know, at the state level, it's even at the council level, like there will be elections coming up eventually for all the councils. So, you know, get decent people to stand, you know, so that our voices are heard.
Have you been asked to stand? I know I have.
No. Oh, look, yeah, you know, but no, you know, I don't really want to. I've worked in politics my whole life. I don't.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, I really don't. Like, I've thought about it.
Me and I've gone, I don't think that's not my path, but I'm happy. But, you know, like, because I think if you get into there's going to be something going on. We see people going with the best intention, but then you get overrun by the drama and bureaucracy and look, all the people who are pushing up the ladder, and, you know, their egos are getting filled and their back pockets, and they don't really care about the actual job, which they think they are, but they don't. Want to do a big shout out to our friends and supporters at Liberty Bullion. Sammy and the team are the best gold, silver and platinum traders in Australia. Make good choices. Give them a call. Back to the show.
Look, joining the current system that's created by the, you know, however it's been created is just not going to work. You know, I think we need something new. Like, I really think, you know, I've been a member of both major political parties, and I've been disappointed in both major political parties.
Yep.
I've worked for both major political parties and, you know, again, disappointed. I've had friends in both major political parties that have become politicians, and best intentions. And then, you know, they have to run with the status quo.
That's right.
So, you know, what we need is some common sense, because, like, you look at what's going on. I mean, honestly, I just feel like screaming and going, seriously, you're going to hold a round table to talk about shit that you should be doing? You've got 100 million departments running all these different things, and you cannot fucking just get them to do it.
What about the
That's their
WEF
job.
and the WHO? I mean, that I mean, we signed off on it. I mean, Americans are not in it. But you know what the best thing is? I think I got a quote from my coach JT, and he goes, "Let's be honest. If Australia's in trouble, who comes running? So that why can't people just everyone doesn't get on? We know that, but if you have allies, you have allies. And I think
Yeah.
I think personally, I don't think there's a good relationship with America, and America's our number one ally. Because I'll tell you right now, you know, looking to the future, if you need your mates, you want America, but America's going to come running. But these people up above just don't really care because they've got some agenda, whatever the agenda is.
Well, we've got Asia who'll come very quickly to our support if
America's
we
the
do.
one. Let's be honest. Let's
Yeah,
be
yeah, but
honest.
we,
America,
we,
yep. I mean, Trump loves Australia, but all of the Americans have always loved Australians.
yeah,
But
yeah.
Okay, what are you doing yourself? Let's get some solutions because I'll go through mine. What are you doing? Look, I mean, we've had this discussion. You're doing a wonderful job with regards to superannuation. So, what are you
Look,
advising? What are you advising
I'm,
your friends to do?
I'm not advising because I'm not a financial advisor.
Oh no,
What
no,
I'm
no.
trying to,
Just sorry. I
no,
should.
no, no, but like literally, right? So I'm
Yeah.
working on applying for a PhD
Hmm.
that looks at building a retirement index for Australia.
Yep.
So one that includes renters, that includes people with long-term health conditions, people that are carers, divorce rates, redundancy, annihilation of super. We've got enough technology now that I think you can build a decent predictive tool to say, these are the factors that can happen,
Hmm.
and these are the factors that are likely to happen to this many people. And therefore, you need to change the regulations around superannuation. So, First Guardian is the one that's like people have lost all their money, and the government's not going to do a thing. And yet, the government goes in and saves banks. And these people, in good faith, put a lot of money in their superannuation, and that's everything that they had that's just been wiped out. So, we need to be able to plan for these things, right? And we need to plan for these things more, and we need to be able to change policies and rules and regulations to give some more flexibility to people. The other thing is that if you have a debt and you've got a decent amount of super, not just a little amount, but you should be able to use that to close off your housing debt, instead of paying all that extra interest for all of those years. So I just want to build a tool that models all of these things. And if the government wants to introduce a wealth tax, or if we have to have a universal basic income, that you can just see what needs to happen, right? And what is going to happen for people. So, I'm hoping that superannuation funds can use this to better understand their members without getting, personal data. I hope government can understand better about how many more people than they realise are going to end up on the age pension, and just what the long term risk for government is for people not to have housing.
Okay.
And all of that. So, and the
Do you
cost
think?
of care.
Can I
So
butt in on that one?
superannuation, while a great idea,
Yep.
came at a time when things were very different. People weren't getting divorced, super funds weren't
Yes.
collapsing,
Yep.
right? People largely owned homes by the time they retired and had paid them off.
Yep.
So all of those things have now changed. And then, now less people owning assets to be able to give to their children, which is the wealth transfer that's happened all these generations to enable people to have their home, then, things are going to be so different. And so I'm just trying to predict it. And I say to people, like, if I were in my 30s now, I'd put more money in my super. That's what I would do.
Okay.
If I knew more about SMSFs, if I had, more assets maybe, and, maybe I would consider a self-managed super fund, but I would consider it in a group. Like, I think you can have up to 4 people in an
That's right. You can.
SMSF.
Yeah,
So
that's right. Well,
so
I'll butt
that's
in on
that's
that
what I'd
one.
consider it, because the point is to accelerate that, building that wealth
Yeah,
over the
that's
next
right.
5 to 10 years.
Well,
So
if I could just butt
yeah.
in with that one with the self-managed, as I said, it's not as hard as what it is. If everyone wants any information, please just DM me. I can give you some people to chat to. As I said, we're not financial consultants, as my friend Annie and I said, we're not. But this is what we're doing ourselves. Yes, you can have a group super to build up as much wealth as you can. As I said, I've gone gold, silver, platinum. I've done a bit of Bitcoin as well. But all we're trying to do is increase the money. And as we said, trying to, get ourselves into a position where we can retire nicely and go and enjoy the world. I mean, isn't that right?
Well, that's right. And, and just know that you're going to be okay. Right. That's
Yes.
all any of us want to know. Right. Or that, you've got a little bit extra to support your siblings if they need it, or your mum or your dad or your kids or whatever. Like, but you've got to look after yourself first. And, I say I peaked early because I got divorced early and I stayed single.
Yep.
But so I kind of knew I would have to have enough wealth for two people because I was on my own.
Yep.
Right. Other people are blindsided. They're getting divorced in their 40s and 50s, right, and 60s. And it's like you're completely blindsided because you weren't accounting for that split of assets at that point in time. So, all these things really matter. So put as much as you can while you can. Because also what I'm seeing is people are being made redundant in their mid 40s. And if you look at the literature now, mature age is 45. It's like, what? What? Like, what? When did that happen? Right? Like, literally, when did 45
Not
become
wrong.
mature age? Right? Because I didn't realize that. So, so if your peak of your career is going to be 35, and at 45 you may take a lesser pay, then you've got up until that age to really put extra money in your
Yeah,
super
that's
or create
exactly
an
it. Yep.
SMSF or whatever. But you've really got to think about it. Like ASFA, the Association of Super Funds of Australia, they say that I think the median, and it could be slightly more now, for someone who owns a house, for a couple is about 700 to 800 grand, and for a single person would be about 5 or 6, right? And it's like, okay, the median is 200 for a man and 160 for a woman. So it doesn't even cut the edges of what a couple needs, let alone a single person needs.
Just a few facts on that one with regards to gold, silver and gold, and that gold's gone up 40% in the last year. And so's platinum's gone up 35%, and I think silver's gone up 35%. That's precious metals. And then obviously the Bitcoin's gone up as well. You can see how that goes up by X amount of dollars. We've got about 5 minutes to go with this one. It's been another good one. It's just with these talks, guys, we're just trying to get information out. This lady here is so knowledgeable. I'm very, very grateful to have her knowledge and her friendship. And this is what we're all about on this thing. Just trying to get. You'll see a lot of clips come out. We hope to get Lee on here as our friend. Yeah. Maybe get a round table, proper round table. Probably do that on TikTok in these couple of weeks, and we'll go from there. Final word, Annie. 31st. We know about that. We know about, but Look, it's about you about uniting, and probably one thing also is being aware of yourself and being aware of yourself, not worrying about everyone else, but being aware of what's happening to you as a person. Correct?
Yeah, I think if you feel that you want to go. If you go and it's not pleasant, leave.
Yep.
If it's fantastic, then stay.
Yep.
If it's not anti-immigration only,
yep,
and it's anti-government generally, then there'll be more. There'll be more, and I think Lee and I said, like, if there's more and it's peaceful and it's all right agenda, then we'll be there at the next one, not this one, but the next one.
Yeah, well, hopefully we'll see how it. Yeah, it was obviously going to be more and more. We can see that, but well, there's a cat there.
Sorry.
No stress. That's hey, we're live. What can I say? But ladies and gentlemen, this has been Jay from A Chat with Jay with the Chief Disruptor, giving us a bit update on what's been happening with what's going on. The main point of it is, guys, ladies and gentlemen, as we've said, be aware of your options. There is definitely options self-managed super. Be careful. Maybe go in with other people. work with your family, work with your friends, be aware of what's going on, but be aware also of your finances and know what's going on in the future. Don't assume that you've got enough. Am I not correct, Miss Chief Disruptor? Just being aware that you've always got to be on point with that. It sounds really cliche, but we're on the money there, yeah?
Yep, definitely.
Absolutely. If you have any questions that you'd like to ask myself or the Chief Disruptor, please, you'll see this video on YouTube, on Buzzsprout. We're doing really, really well on that, getting a lot of views. If you want to shoot any questions, please do so. Thank you so much for having us in your house, in your room, on your phone. We love doing what we do. And I said, I'm very grateful for this lady's friendship and her knowledge. She's a lovely lady. And yeah, one person that we all know. And we got this big group of us who want to come together and make Australia great again. Oh, God, I've said the wrong thing. Oh, my God. Oh, look out. I'll probably get shot down for that. But this has been Jay for the Robin Hood Effect. And this is the Chief Disruptor. We will talk very, very soon. Thank you so much. We'll be back in about 2 or 3 weeks. And I reckon the round table might be coming. We'll do a proper round table where we'll get things done. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much. We'll see you soon. Thanks so much, guys.